Why initiate children into the arts early on? Because it helps in their holistic development. And what do I mean by holistic development? Development of all parts of their being. Take, for example, physical or the body. Dance as an art form, for example, helps enhance physical coordination and balance. My son plays a musical instrument called the mridangam. I've seen it help him in different aspects like development of fine motor and gross motor skills. Let's take senses, which is another part of the being. So playing musical instruments sharpens the sense of hearing, sharpens the sense of touch. You feel and play the different parts of the instrument and you know how it sounds and how each part can create different sounds, etc. Or take energy, the dynamics of energy, right? Dance forms can help channel energy in a very vibrant manner. Or take the development of emotions. Forms like theatre or drama provide platforms for children to explore and articulate their emotions very well. Or take the part of the being which is the mind. Mind has different faculties like creative thinking, there's analytical thinking, ability to synthesize different thoughts, etc. You take forms like dance or music where children have to improvise. It provides them a very good opportunity to creatively think, put things together. Or take an example of participating in a drama or a theatre production where you have to analyze the script, design the script, analyze the script, etc. This helps them build their analytical thinking skills. Or let's take, for example, some forms where you have to combine different art forms together. Let's say multimedia art. That teaches them synthesizing different concepts. This is development of different parts of the being. You can even take social skills, for example, participating in group art projects, say an ensemble or a choir, helps them develop social skills. Or take connecting with the nature photography, painting landscapes, helps them connect with the environment better. Or there are other practices like mindful drawing, for example, that can help them get better focus, get more concentration. Or even take self-discovery, playing different roles in a drama or exploring different genres of music or dance aids in exploring and discovering different facets of who they are themselves. So I think art in its very essence, as well as in its varied forms, acts as a very comprehensive tool for nurturing different aspects of a child's growth. Early arts initiation can definitely be instrumental in nurturing sensitivity and emotional intelligence. Let's take skills like empathy and emotional skills. For example, drama and acting help children understand and express a wide range of emotions and helps build empathy. Let's take communication. Learning to play, perform music enhances the ability to communicate different emotions. In the process, you also communicate with the people whom you're working with. Or take, for example, mindfulness, right? Practices like mindful sketching help you develop concentration and awareness. They help you connect to the present moment. They help you pause before you start jumping and reacting to what triggers you. Or take, let's say, appreciation of diversity. So my son learns Carnatic, Hindustani and Western music, and it has helped him appreciate diversity. It has helped him broaden his perspective. He's only 10 years old, but now he can understand different music forms, etc. Or take self-awareness. For example, I have seen some children who draw portraits of themselves over a period of time. I think it definitely helps them introspect and become more self-aware. Take resilience. Sculpting, for example, teaches you how to overcome different artistic challenges while you're doing it and learn from your mistakes. Or take the whole aspect of inclusivity, right? When you collaborate with people, when you do collaborative projects like theatre projects, etc., they teach you teamwork, they teach you inclusivity. So overall, if you ask me, I think artistic activities in various forms are very foundational for developing the empathetic, the sensitive qualities that become crucial, especially in adulthood. Should all children be initiated into the arts? See, art initiation I have seen is definitely beneficial for all children. But there is also this saying, when you have a hammer, everything you look at looks like a nail. Basically, what I'm trying to say is that we shouldn't compel everyone into a single path or into a single mold, such as pushing all children into the arts regardless of their interests or inclinations. However, having said that, this does not mean that arts can't be beneficial for all children, each in their own unique way. For example, my 10-year-old nephew is deep into automobile and technology. Now, if you look at him, you will say, this guy is not interested in art. But I've seen art in the form of drawing and model building help him visualize concepts and create new prototypes. So integrating the arts in education can support and enrich a child's main area of interest as well. Even if art by itself is not the main area the child is pursuing. Oh, I absolutely believe in the philosophy of arts for joy. In fact, I think joy or delight is one of the fundamental things that is present in everything around us. And art can definitely help us access it. Teaching can inculcate the spirit of joy in kids through various methods. And some of the methods I have tried, for example, is when you emphasize the fun and enjoyment of creating art rather than just stressing or striving for.
It's Diwali, time for some fireworks. Wishing you all a very happy Diwali.
Hi everyone, this is Chaitra Sairam, Carnatic vocalist, and the best way to learn other than being a student is by being a teacher. I think I have been extremely fortunate to have been able to teach and share this art form with a varied age group of students over the past 2 decades. Teaching younger children is a whole different experience in itself, and I always believe that children take to art like fish to water. They can just soak in the music, the melody, the rhythm, easier than we actually assume they can. I've taught children who are under the age group of 6 to 10, and it's just wonderful to see them enjoy the music, go with the rhythm, learn the melodies, and picking up language is such an easy way by teaching them songs in our own Indian languages. Instead of just allowing them to listen to English rhymes, I feel that the best way of introducing them to music is through these simple songs which may be about nature, about animals, about things they can relate to. I just love the rhythmic aspect of music. Simple takita takadimi, how you can incorporate music and math, how it can help them do their simple addition subtraction. So rhythm is something which they absolutely enjoy. You ask me if music is healing? Absolutely. Music is absolutely healing to anyone and everyone, not just children under the autism spectrum. Though we have been working with them for the past 10 plus years, it has been a very deep experience, I should say. They again have so much innate musicality in them that they are able to produce and give back multifold. I can say that we have seen instances where non-verbal children have been able to reproduce these songs, simple songs, in different Indian languages, be it Tamil, Hindi, Sanskrit, Telugu. So language is never an issue. I think when it goes with the music, it just reaches them, and that can become a way to improve their verbal capabilities. So I say this with surety because we have seen children who have picked up languages and singing over a span of 10 months to 1 year, or sometimes even lesser. And yes, you have asked me how different is it teaching children in a rural area. For the past 8 years, going to Manjakudi every week, every month has been something so rewarding, rejuvenating and satisfying, I should say. Because rural area children do not have access to our music. Actually, they have absolutely no exposure to Carnatic music like we city people do, especially Chennaiites. So Manjakudi is a small village near Kumbakonam. They have been able to absorb whatever we have given them in these years with such ease and love and enthusiasm. The over availability of visual, auditory stimulation for the city children has made it too accessible. Whereas for rural children, that is a major thing which makes them value what they get so much. It's my humble opinion that children should be exposed to art forms at a very young age and allow them to blossom in the direction that they feel they love the most.
Hi Sumitra. Hi everyone. Good evening from Chennai. Who is a classical musician and a Bharatanatyam artist based in Bengaluru. Sumitra, I just accepted your request. Hi Sanjay. Hello.
Hi, Kila.
Lovely to see you here on this platform.
Lovely to be here chatting with you. Tell me.
Okay. Lovely. So just introducing, people who are listening and who will listen later, that this conversation is in the backdrop of a short and sweet social media series that Alap is doing, which is called Children and the Arts. And the intent really was to really explore, the whole idea of children and how the arts can really shape and nurture them as sensitive and empathetic human beings as they grow older. So I thought it would be lovely to have a conversation. Sumitra, I know that, you are a teacher. In fact, my cousin's daughter is a student of yours as well. So I just thought it would be lovely to speak with someone we know and to really understand from your perspective what it is for you to be a teacher, teaching children from across various age groups, and just to understand how the whole, the dynamic of arts education for children is also, undergoing a shift of sorts. I want to start off, Sumitra, without much ado, really about, just your quick thoughts on why do you think, the arts are really crucial for children, and why do you think parents and guardians must really encourage their kids, their wards to really pursue the arts?
Yes, see, our arts in earlier days, we were made to learn this without being asked. I mean, why was that? Because it is a connect to our culture. It is a connect to a good way of growing up. It's a connect to a lot of things that also to keep us purposefully, our time is well spent. Because as children, we normally hear this thing, I'm bored. And so when we engage a child in the arts, the child can never get bored of actually doing it or performing or learning. And of course, we always hear the word discipline. So there is a certain rigor, there is a method, it's a path. Learning an art is a path that has been drawn out for us. And if we just follow that path, we are assured of a certain development of personality. And I believe that that assurance doesn't come just from academic education, because it's very important to actually be under a person who the child looks up to. Very often, the child is only looking at the parents, in nuclear families, and not even grandparents. So when the child has a teacher who is another voice and who is a stern voice and a loving voice, both. So then the child really begins uh, to get interested in this whole exercise and develop along with the teacher, and gain from the teacher's inputs all the time. I mean, because the teacher has only the child's good at heart. So if you're consistent, that's the whole thing. You should be consistent in learning it and learn over many years, because that's something. See, the arts, it's not something that I cannot pick up something in 6 months, 1 year. It's a very long drawn out process. It's like an academic education, but with a personal touch. So when there are so many advantages, also mental abilities. I have seen children develop, thinking beyond what they would normally, because of the exposure to music and dance, because they have to think laterally, think along so many dimensions. And so that develops their brain, it stimulates them. So I can only go on and on about the advantages that learning this has. And that's why, our generation, I think at least my generation, we were never asked, would you want to learn music? Do you want to learn dance? We were just sent to a dance teacher or a music teacher, and we did that. But now it's become a matter of choice. And I think the parent should exercise that choice and certainly teach the arts at a very young age to their kids from then on.
There's so many questions that I want to ask, but I'll start with that final thing that you talked about, that parents should encourage their children to pursue it. I just want to ask you, pursuing the arts, which is a sort of almost lifelong, but at least till the child is almost like independent enough, the parents slash guardian needs to be involved. So it also calls for a great amount of rigor on the part of the parent and the guardian also, right? To pursue this class after class, there is a certain rigor in the very system of the classical arts itself. So there's not just consistency that's needed from the teacher, but also from the student, and in this context, also from the parent to continue. What would you say about that, Sumitra? Because you also work with so many, parents of really young children.
Yes.
How do you, in some sense, talk to them and coach them as well?
Absolutely. It's a very big psychological challenge, as a teacher, because as I said, today I have to make sure my child, when I say my child, my student is interested enough to attend the next class, because that is the choice the student has, even a 5-year-old. I have seen parents who say, she's not interested. How do you know at the age of 5 whether you're interested or not, or what is there in it for you? So for me, the biggest challenge is my student interested enough to attend the next class and to retain that interest? So the parent is today at the mercy of the child, literally. Because the child decides, I won't learn. And what can the parent do? It's not as critical as undergoing a school education. Here, there is a choice. So we teachers, we have this constant, I would not say pressure, but we have to have it in our hearts that somehow this child must be enthused. So that's my formula. I mean, because I often think that I am answerable to the child. I'm not answerable to the parent in terms of my teaching. And the role of the parent is very critical because you cannot, it's not as if you'd be send the child to school and we just sit back and relax. We look at the report card, we look at the grades. Is the child doing the exam well? Has the child prepared? So similarly, the more the parent shows an interest in the child's performance, the child really blossoms in the art. Because the and to the extent that I encourage parents to come and sit in the classroom and watch their child learn, because as they watch they also learn. At least if you don't have the time to come and sit in the classroom, then find out from the child what happened today, what are you doing, and then learn the art. For example, I told a parent that if you are not going to learn about Bharatanatyam, if you are not going to be interested enough, you send your child to school, but who in the family is going to appreciate this child when she performs? If even you cannot understand what she is doing, because Bharatanatyam is an art form that we can't simply enjoy. We need to know the nuances. So I have had this conversation that I've told parents, if you don't understand, if you don't grow in this art with your child, what your child is learning is meaningless. Because somebody in the family must be there to say, you did well. Hey, that person did well. You did well. And that encouragement is very necessary. To the extent that you have to educate yourself. It's not just knowing whether the child has practiced or not. You have to know the content. And I believe that is the level of involvement that the parent should happily give to the child.
Right. Thank you for that, Sumitra. So what I'm hearing is a sense of consistency, also a sense of the collective, for the family to be sort of involved in this entire process. But I want to ask you a question on the third C, which is creativity. You talked about, what a crucial role you have to play in terms of ensuring that the student is enthused, to come back class after class. I want to ask you a little bit about, you've probably been teaching for the last, I'd suppose, like
years.
more than a couple of decades, right? So do you feel like things have changed, Sumitra, from, from the previous decade to now, in a way that the children are responding and are perhaps have more minds of their own? I don't know. Are we seeing some sort of shifts like that? And therefore, how have you shifted the way you curate your classes and sort of engage your students?
Absolutely. I mean, see, I handle children in batches and I take them on in once every few years. So I have seen kind of a change in a lot of things, and change in parents, change in students, in the attitudes, in their challenges along the way. Because every batch, in a few years, things change. For example, there was no cell phone when I started my first 2-3 batches. So, and those children, I never had to deal with pressures from that. So, in that sense, every batch brings along its surprises. And it is in a way very, what do you say, I see a lot of shift in terms of the children being much more bold. For instance, let me tell you, I started a batch just over Zoom during the pandemic. All 4.5, 5-year-olds, just 4, 5 maximum. And I hadn't seen them in 8 months after I started. I didn't see them physically, though many lived in Bangalore. So I was under the impression, and then one day they had to come and attend my class in person. So I thought they're going to walk in all, very, very scared about where they're coming into a new environment. And in walked all these little ones as confident as ever. I was the one nervous actually on that day. So the children have taken to culture, to technology, and they've learned to assimilate everything. And yes, today's technology, for instance, if I want my music children to listen to something, all I have to say is just go to the YouTube and you do it. Things become so simple. All that was not even possible, say, 10 years ago.
Right.
So today I take advantage of these facilities to make art education much more sort of inclusive and much more offering much more variety. So I have changed some of the way I communicate, and telling them to do a few more things, making use of what we have today, rather than complain about the excesses that we see.
No, that's a fantastic response. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. I just want to ask you a little bit about, you've probably seen these little 4.5-year-olds blossom into young adults, right? Some of them have perhaps stayed with you through that entire course. Do you feel, Sumitra, you also alluded to this in the first question that I asked you, but do you feel that invariably the pursuit of the classical arts helps children blossom into kinder, sensitive, more empathetic citizens? Do you think you are in some sense part of this process that helps raise responsible and passionate and empathetic human beings as they grow older?
Absolutely. You see, the thing is that first of all, if you're under a teacher, you have to develop respect. You have to appreciate and totally trust. So these are qualities that give them the assurance and make them much softer, personalities, I would say, because you all said and done, you won't be so assertive with your teacher. I mean, you can only go that far, and they learn all that very young. They know that they have to take into consideration a lot of factors before they even ask a question. Because the teacher, you just can't go and say what you want. I mean, that's how we were brought up, and that's how even my students, they will think, can I ask this? Is it okay with me? I mean, things like this today, one would think, is it suppression of your, freedom?
Yeah.
But that is part of our culture. Nothing wrong with it. See, sometimes the teacher may be wrong, and you shouldn't point out and say, hey, you were wrong. I mean, that's not a culture. You have to learn to sort of underplay it and proceed based on that. So these are subtle things that develop personality so beautifully. And I have seen personally that children have a sense of, what you call a very sense of, they hold themselves. And they know how to conduct themselves. They know how to take on responsibilities. They know time management. They are exposed to so many aspects of our culture, like maybe temples, maybe concerts, maybe live programs, attending and performing. So all this shapes them into some people who are very, who are equipped to carry on any profession. They may even become doctors, but the discipline and the lessons they learn from pursuing the art will hold them in good stead even in that professional life. Because it's after all the same. It's about time management. It's about being responsible. It's about being empathetic. And I do feel that being in a class, in a dance class or a music class, you're looking at others. You're not in isolation. You're looking at your friends. You're learning from them. You're learning to share. You're learning to, to actually push yourself. You're not looking at it in terms of, you're not saying, oh, she's better or he is better. It's all these, thoughts should not be part of a class situation. You're not jealous, but that drives you. Because you're seeing somebody, oh, she can do that. I can also try. So, these kind of things, I'm sure in a beautiful way, you're growing and you're developing into a wonderful human being for any part of society. So that's my take on that.
Right. Thanks, Sumitra. Just one final question before we, wrap this conversation. It's really about what is your take on, this people talk about process and some people talk about performance. And then now there are these contests and, competitions and stuff. What is your take on that? Do you believe that, sending your children to these competitions really helps them, learn both what it takes to be like win and lose? What is your take? Because different teachers think differently about these competitions. So I just wanted to understand your perspective on it.
A very interesting question, Akila. Absolutely, you're because parents, when they are very serious about sending their children to for art education, some of them are very intent on competitions and to tell others, my child won this, or this was the accomplishment. So in that sense, I am not very encouraging. I always underplay that. I tell the parents, it's okay. It's not about winning the competition. It's about participating. It's that, in my opinion, is the best thing the child learning the art can have. So attending competitions is okay. It's not a problem, but don't expect that the child, if the child does not get a prize, it's okay. The process of having learned is what really matters. And so very often I do encourage children to go to competitions, because what happens is, at some times you have to really raise their level suddenly. So they're at a particular level. I remember a very leading musician once told me this piece of advice. He said, just pick them up and pull them. They will come up. So I have tried that as a technique sometimes, where I have feared, oh my goodness, can they do this? Are they equipped? But I will just say, let me try, let the child try, let us see what happens. And that, in that sense, competitions have helped. Because without that thing approaching, sometimes the teachers are a little, laid back. So when a competition comes, why not push ourselves? Why not let's see what happens? So as long as competitions are taken in the good spirit, as long as parents look at it as just one more thing, and not as the be all and end all of everything, it should be, in my opinion, a desirable thing.
That's fantastic. Thank you so much. What I'm taking back is definitely the fact that one is the pursuit of the classical arts is crucial for the holistic development of a child. It's crucial that there is consistency on the part of the teacher, the student, and the parent and the family, and definitely the need for keeping up with the changing times and ensuring there is creativity in every class, so that the student is constantly like excited to return class after class. So thank you for these very fascinating insights, Sumitra. It was lovely talking to you. Thank you so much for your thoughts. And
Great, Rajna. I love all the work Alap and you do and your team. So thank you for giving me the opportunity to be part of this. I enjoyed chatting with you.
Appreciate your kind words. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.